All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us as we continue our webinar series highlighting state of Colorado agencies and institutions of higher education. Just a couple housekeeping items. We will be recording this session in order to post this webinar onto our Colorado for All YouTube channel. As well as send out to attendees so that you can refer back to the recording if you'd like to. We will hold all questions until the end and we will stop recording prior to questions. Yeah, and just feel free to engage, send emojis. You can put your questions into the chat, which we can address at the end. And we're looking forward to jumping in with OIT. So today, our agenda will be a little bit of an overview about our office, the Statewide Equity Office, the Supplier Diversity Program, and then we'll turn it over to Brandon and Kim from OIT to go over a little bit about OIT, what they buy, and discretionary purchases, cooperative agreements, and competitive bids. They'll go over some procurement proposal tips and then some key conducts and resources, and then we'll open it up for questions. So our program was established in Colorado Revised Statute with the focus to identify and remove procurement barriers to increase the readiness and utilization of businesses in working with the state of Colorado, to include businesses that may have been historically underutilized. As part of that, we do offer a Colorado Supplier Diversity Navigator, which is a procurement help desk, and it also manages our Colorado Supplier Diversity Directory. We have a construction assistance program to help folks navigate the construction side of procurement at the state. And then we also offer business training and resources. Our help desk, specifically, some of the procurement assistance that we offer is we help identify opportunities for your business to sell goods or services to the state agencies and institutions of higher ed. We offer guidance in responding to solicitations, answer general procurement questions, and assist with referrals for resources and technical assistance as well. So as I mentioned, we manage the Colorado Supplier Diversity Directory. Any business registered and in good standing with the Colorado Secretary of State can apply for a no-cost directory listing. And as part of that directory listing, you'll also receive increased visibility to buyers across the state, since it is a public facing directory with the focus on buyers employed with the state of Colorado. You can receive business size and ownership verification for your business. So that includes if your business is small, diverse owned, veteran owned, service disabled veteran owned, operating within a qualified hub zone as identified by the Federal Small Business Association or Administration, I'm sorry. And then as part of that verification process, we'll give you a credential that you can use within your marketing materials for your business. We'll also let you know of upcoming trainings and events. And I mentioned the logo. So as I mentioned, it's public facing. So not only do state and local government employees can find you, they can view it, they can find you, but the public as well. So as part of our construction assistance program, we offer construction bond assistance training and assistance. We have a construction bonding 101 training that we've created in partnership with a minority business office that is available as an on-demand training on their website. And then we also offer referrals. And then soon we'll be posting a construction guide for contractors on our website. So keep an eye out for that. If you're part of the directory, we will also send an email out with that information as well. And then just to touch on our big goal here at the state of Colorado, we have a 3% SDVOSB, service disabled, veteran-owned small business goal for contracts. So this is a target that state agencies are working towards achieving. So to help with this, we do have a mechanism in place known as a bid preference. So agencies can use this to offer a preference in contracting in order to meet this goal. And as you can see here, these are some of the benefits of our preference program. If you have further questions, you can always reach out to us. And then there's additional business support available through Colorado Apex Accelerators. We do offer some trainings for businesses at the state. Of course, this are tools for success in state of Colorado procurement, agency spotlights, and then we have a separate tools for success, which goes into these pieces that I've discussed in more detail. And then Access Colorado also has a monthly webinar, and it's posted as well online for how to do business with the state from our procurement office. You can also go to the Colorado for All YouTube channel that I mentioned for additional videos. And if you'd like to reach out to us directly, here is our email and our phone number. Our email is dpa_supplierdiversityhelp@state.co.us. And you can also scan that QR code to fill out an assistance request form if you'd like to get a hold of us. All right, so now the moment you've been waiting for. I'll pass it over to Brandon and Kim from OIT to begin their presentation. Take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Amber, and thanks to everyone who hopped on the call and took your time out today to come listen to a little bit of what OIT is about and kind of what we do, who we serve. I'm Brandon Giovanni. I've been with OIT for about 10 years now, going in August, and I serve as the manager of vendor relations. Kim, you want to go ahead?
Thanks, Brandon. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Rodriguez. I'm a vendor relationship analyst on the vendor services team. I'm in my 4th year here. I'm really glad to be here today and connect with all of you. I always appreciate any opportunity that we have to engage with our vendor community, whether that's hearing feedback or concerns that you're facing. We try the best to get those figured out. We do have some great slides for you all. I hope that it helps you do business with OIT. But I do want to mention as we go through these slides, if there's any specific purchasing or contract questions that we can't answer, we could definitely jot those down and get back to you, or you can email them to our VMO inbox, and then we are able to respond with the answers. So with that, Brandon, I guess I'll pass it back to you and we can go over the next slide.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So looking at that's this slide here, you can see our logo. If you're familiar with OIT, you may have seen this logo change a couple times over the years. This is our most recent logo. So if you see this on any documentation, you know it's the most up to date. Our mission and purpose is to ensure an accessible, trustworthy, and resilient technology experience for Colorado. Thank you, Sarah, for dropping the About Us page. We have a lot more information on that page, but you know, I will touch on you know, some of our other goals and other strategic initiatives are really to keep the state's IT assets secure and manage the tools that state employees need to do their jobs. Another focus that we have is remediating the state's tech debt and reimagining how we deliver IT. And we have a multi-year plan that's also on that About Us page that you can check out. Basically, just to ensure that Colorado digital services are the best, you know, for our residents all around the state. And we also have a couple other focuses, such as transforming the digital experience across our Colorado high impact services. It's also referred to as CHIPS. Applying for programs such as SNAP, registering for universal preschool, and then applying for, you know, emergency rental assistance or accessing mental health support systems. And so that's kind of a little bit at a high level of kind of where our focus is. And we have a short, I believe it's just a minute or so video right after this that really breaks down kind of who we serve and some of the other areas that we focus on. So Sarah, we can jump to that.
In Colorado, we connect to all sorts of things. Our vibrant communities, stunning surroundings, family and friends. Like our fellow Coloradans, we at the Governor's Office of Information Technology are all about connections. It's what we do, literally. We provide secure technology solutions to all 18 state government agencies, and we help connect more than 5.8 million individuals and families across Colorado to important services like food assistance, unemployment benefits, early childhood education, broadband, and more. We work closely with our state agency partners to understand their unique missions so we can translate their business needs into accessible digital services that put Coloradans first. We believe that everyone deserves the opportunity to access state government services in ways that are easy to navigate and work for their lifestyle. Being inclusive, collaborative, and creating connections. At OIT, that's how we're serving people. Serving Colorado.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, and with that, Kim, I will pass it back over to you.
Thanks, Brandon. Yeah, great video. Like Brandon mentioned, it just goes over high level. So I can go over the WIG. So every year, OIT updates the long-term strategic plan, which are the wildly important goals. The strategy page contains a strategic plan dashboard where you can click through the WIGs, each tab, and view our attainment. But right now, since we're going through internal change, I'm not sure if the coding is up to date. I checked it this morning and it looks like there's some updates that need to be done. So I'll be sure to reach out to our comms team about that. But overall, it has the list of our goals. And when it is up to date, you're able to view the attainment. So I've listed them here on this slide. The first is to improve technology resilience and technology resilience and reliability. Sorry, that's a hard word for me. So this matters because we're the state central technology provider, and OIT needs to be transparent and provide well-configured, secure, and effective products and services that meet the needs of our agency partners. WIG 2, which is what our team, the vendor services team, focuses on a lot, is strengthening that agency partnership and satisfaction. We need to be hand in hand with our agency partners and support them in any way that we can. So we're working really hard to help with that one. WIG 3, expand on broadband internet access. Our CBO team is blowing this one out the water. This matters because fast, reliable, and affordable broadband service is critical for Coloradans in our modern economy. And then last but not least, the WIG 4, so improve technology accessibility. 20% of Colorado's population live with a disability, so access to government services is very important, so they can have access to services. And WIGs don't capture everything we do as an agency. They highlight absolute top priorities. So they're the focus on how we deliver for our agency partners and Coloradans. The strategy page has a WIG explainer that goes into detail on how we plan to accomplish those. It also has like where we started, it gives you a baseline, and then where we plan to be for fiscal year 27. So within these, there's plenty of projects, work, and groundwork that need to be done, but we can't do it alone. We need our vendor partners. So I'll pass it back to Brandon, and he's going to talk about what OIT usually purchases at the discretionary level that help optimize our service delivery across the state, and then we can go from there. Take it away, Brandon.
Thank you, Kim. Yeah, so excuse me. One piece that we thought would be really helpful for you guys that are on the calls to kind of understand our discretionary purchasing. This is easily our most flexible piece of our most flexible unit to kind of get around. And for those of you that are not aware, our threshold for discretionary purchases just went up. It was $25,000 for probably the first 8 years I was here, and then just about a year or two ago, it was actually increased to about $50,000. And I think it's important to note that for discretionary purchases at OIT, I can't speak to any other agency, but at OIT, there's no competition required, and it's not noted here, but you do not have to be registered in VSS or BidNet to compete in one of these or to be engaged on a discretionary purchase. So that really helps us be nimble and flexible, especially as emergencies arise. I can speak to an issue. I was formerly the facilities manager, and we had a project going on. We thought we were done. It ended up that we didn't have enough power to a panel, and we needed to procure about a $20,000 panel at the time. And we were able to do that with discretionary spend. And before folks got in the office the next day, we were able to work overnight and get the lights turned on, so to speak. So the discretionary spend is one of our most utilized spaces. So I implore all of you to kind of check that out. We have VSS and BidNet, which we'll touch on here a little later. But we wanted to kind of note the goods and services that we commonly buy at a discretionary level. And so that we broke them out into three main buckets. So we have our pro services, professional services, and then our tangible goods and our P card purchases. And normally in our I call them pro services, I'm sorry, they're our professional services. We have our project managers. So if we have a project manager whose contract has expired, but the project still needs to get pushed maybe through a 3-week sprint, we'll hire a project manager to kind of fill that role. If same kind of deal, if we are in the midst of a software project and we need an architect to kind of review something for us, we can hire software architecture at that under discretionary spend. And then back to kind of my facility days and assisting our new facility manager, one of the big discretionary spends we had this year was hiring several building architects for our renovations at our headquarters. And so that allowed us to be very nimble, and as we had a couple of floors that we were redoing, and so we were able to work with several different folks to kind of get across the finish line a lot quicker than doing a whole robust RFP per se to kind of build out that whole project. What we really see at the discretionary levels are these next two buckets, these tangible goods and P card purchases. So at OIT, we have quite a large server room. And so we commonly see recs come through for servers, racks to hold those servers, uninterruptible power supplies, aka UPSs. So these would be the units that sit outside, say like a data center. And then some of our just normal goods, such as laptops and facility needs. Like I mentioned, Sturgeon. If we have a clean out, we'll have trash disposal, general maintenance around the building. And then that other bucket, our P card purchases. This is kind of our office supplies, our quick use. Say we need something on the fly. We do not need to go out and have competition. We can just purchase these off a P card. As long as we're under that threshold. And then same kind of when me and Kim go out to quite a few events, and we have a lot of marketing stuff. So we will leverage a P card user and that discretionary spend quite frequently when we're going out to these events to get things like swag and tablecloths and just little things that you wouldn't want to go out and do a full-blown procurement for. So we leverage the discretionary space pretty frequently. I would say it's probably our most used space. And in a couple slides, I'll be touching on some of our other areas of spend, but we wanted to really nail down on the discretionary spend because it is one of our biggest and a really good way for vendors to get their foot in the door, kind of prove that they're a great vendor. And then we can do some of those more robust procurements with those folks involved. So, I will pass it over to Kim.
Thanks, Brandon. Alrighty, so cooperative agreements. Just some quick purchasing thresholds. I know a lot of things are changing, but I thought it would be good to mention. So through the end of the fiscal year 26, which is June 30th of this month, anything over $250,000 can be purchased with a cooperative agreement. And then effective July 1st of 2026, that amount will go up to $350,000. And then I can briefly talk about the order of priority of cooperative agreements that OIT usually goes by. But I do want to say that ultimately OIT procurement is responsible for determining which source selection or which solicitation method is used. And they would be the ones to guide the program, division, stakeholder, service owner, or whoever is wanting to purchase something. Purchasing will guide them in navigating that selection process. So it's ultimately the responsibility of OIT's procurement director to ensure that the source selection process is fair, that it's balanced, and that taxpayer money is used in the most effective manner for the good of the state. So with that, usually when we're procuring, we always check the Colorado state price agreements to see if any of the vendors there can provide the service or product that we need. Categories that we can choose from are listed on the Colorado State Price Agreement website. I've linked that here on this slide as well. It has services like cloud solutions, computer equipment, data communications, IT vendor managed services, software, and other things. We usually identify our needs first, and then we search for the state price agreement that are in place if we need to make a purchase. These agreements have already been negotiated and signed by the state of Colorado. So instead of spending months going through the bidding process, we can just utilize a contract that has already been vetted. And if you want to learn more about Colorado state price agreements, like I've mentioned before, I've linked the website on this slide. It's a really good source of information. You can sign up for their weekly price agreement updates or contact John Chapman if you have any questions. I believe his email is on the bottom of that webpage there. And we can go to the next slide, please. Alrighty, and second is other state public procurement units, cooperative purchasing agreements. So like Arizona, Arkansas, or other Colorado state agencies agreements. I do want to say these have to be approved by the Colorado State Procurement Official, OSC, the Office of the State Controller. So the state procurement official would look at things like, was the cooperative agreement solicited in a manner in which it abides by Colorado procurement code and rules? Does the solicitation award process comply with Colorado procurement code and rules? And other considerations, I won't name them all, but that's all up to the procurement official to vet. They're the experts in this field, and they'll know the best course of action. And next slide, please. And then, like I mentioned, the considerations in the slide before, those are similar to what needs to be pre-approved for these agreements like Omnia, Sourcewell, GSA, and others. So if you're in the process of getting procured with us in the future and have a cooperative agreement from another state or external agency, just know that these approvals take time, and the purchasing agent or contract specialist that you're working with will update you with those timelines and the best course of action. And as always, if you're not getting timely updates, you can always reach out to our team. We can poke around internally and get you an update and get that figured out. Real quick though, I do want to mention OIT enterprise agreements. While I didn't mention it on the slide itself, I do have it in the speaker notes. Our agency does IFBs and RFPs for enterprise agreements that executive branches can utilize. Sometimes higher education and local public procurements may want to utilize those, but it is up to them to determine if they can, especially with a lot of like local public procurements have their own procurement rules and policies. So I've linked the website in the speaker notes. There's an inbox on the bottom that can answer any questions on how these are started, how renewals work, etc. And then the website as well has the categories that we already have so far. So it kind of gives you an idea of what we're looking for. And then I can pass it over to Brandon, and he can cover the competitive bid, which is another avenue to do business with us. Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah, thanks, Kim. So yeah, as I was kind of touching on when talking about discretionary purchases, this is going to kind of cover everything outside of discretionary purchases. So I do want to comment, we actually just, when we were building this presentation out, we got kind of lucky because we got an email right before right before this that the thresholds are going to be changing for our DQs. Similar to what Kim was mentioning with our co-ops, our DQs specifically are going to go up to $350,000. So you'll see on this on the graphic I have here, it mentions 250,000. That is going to be going up to 350,000. So I just wanted to put that on everyone's radar. And starting to look at this, so our DQs, our documented quotes, are anything from 50,000 to 250,000, and can be awarded on a PO. That makes cutting a DQ fairly quick. We really don't have to do much robust evaluation. We can kind of just go look out at the vendor community, receive responses, and then whichever the service owner is, who the service owner in our world is whoever submitted the request, they would be brought into the fold. We would review those bids with them, and then they would make that educated choice on what's most advantageous for not only their team, but the state taxpayers. We also have a DQ with a waiver, and this is a little different. So this would be still considered a DQ, but this can go over that $250,000, soon to be $350,000 threshold. But once we have that evaluation made and responses are submitted back to us, we do have to go through another short process with the OSC, the Office of the State Controller, that Kim touched on, and go obtain a waiver from them. And normally this only happens when a service owner isn't aware of the true price of the service or products that they need. And we get general responses over that threshold after we've already sent the DQ out there. So that one's more rare than the rest of these. The next one here, so this would be an invitation for bid, aka an IFB. So this would also kind of fall into that same over 250,000 mark, and this is going to be awarded to the most cost-effective offering. And so I have to kind of asterisk that, because while cost is certainly something we look at as a huge factor, we also are looking at what's most advantageous for the state. So maybe there's a bid that was the second or third highest price offering, but they're the most advantageous for what our need is. That person will get chosen, not just the lowest bid. We've had circumstances in the past, and actually me and Kim and Dennis, we work on escalations pretty frequently where a vendor will be chosen because they're that bottom dollar, and we run into a slew of issues with them, whether it be compliance or red lines. So, and that's not most advantageous for us. So it's really kind of narrowing it down and doing some more evaluation once we get over that threshold. The next one, and probably one you guys are all familiar with, is the request for proposal, aka an RFP. So this is again over 250,000. This is awarded on a contract and does require an evaluation committee. So me and Kim and Dennis, our other vendor manager, we sit on evaluation committees pretty frequently for RFPs, and there is an entire evaluation process that is dedicated for this effort. And I'll just add that normally a RFP can take anywhere from 6 to 9 months. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of internal work that we have to do before putting out an RFP. Then once one is published, I believe it can be out there for up to a month. And then the evaluation and the kind of going back and forth with our contracts team can take up to another month or two. So RFPs are definitely a more robust option for us, and we don't try to avoid them. We certainly do it when it's necessary, but it is one of those where we have to plan accordingly if we do plan to go that route. An ITN, an intent to negotiate, is that next one. So this is again anything over 250,000. It's awarded on a contract, and it does require an evaluation committee, but it does allow for us to make direct negotiations with that vendor. So most of the time we wouldn't be going through what's called a VAR, a value added reseller. For something like this, we would be going direct to the source for whatever we are purchasing. We just try to allow a little bit of time again for red line reviews. Maybe they've made it clear in their bid that there is contract language maybe around indemnification that isn't going to work for them, but they are the most advantageous to the state. This allows us an avenue to kind of have that back and forth conversation with them in a fair manner. And then our final one is a focus solicitation. And this kind of varies. This is usually done through our vendor pools, which Kim kind of touched on. And these are normally awarded on a task order, a TO. So when say there's a need identified, we have a vendor in our vendor pool list that can provide the work. We just go out and do what's called a focus solicitation, and we just focus it to that small pool of vendors and then award on a task order from their main task order contract. So it's a little, this one is kind of more niche, but certainly something that we do pretty frequently, especially when we're in a pinch and as we start to approach year end. Instead of going out to do a full-blown solicitation, sometimes it makes more sense timely to just go out and do a focused solicitation on the pool that we have already set up. So yeah, that's a little bit more about our competitive bids, kind of our threshold limits. And again, just want to remind you guys, those thresholds will be going up a little bit. So keep an eye out, and those should be going through, I believe, July 1st. So more to come on that. But we can jump kind of to that next slide. So this is, again, some of the goods that we commonly procure through our competitive bid process. With us being the IT office, the number one thing I would say we purchase is definitely software licenses, maintenance and support on that software. So if we have an engagement go through and we need external support that OIT can't internally facilitate, then we'll go out and do a solicitation for 3 years of maintenance and support. Again, I kind of want to jump back to software. That's definitely our biggest bucket. We don't purchase a ton of hard goods outside of those discretionary spends. Really what we are focused on is large software purchases. So just something to keep in the back of your mind as you start to think about how you can engage with OIT. If you are a software vendor, you are definitely up our alley. Not to say that anyone else isn't, but that is certainly our biggest bucket. And then I added in there our headquarters renovation. So I kind of touched on that earlier, and we had a pretty large solicitation go out because we were renovating about 20,000 square feet. And so I just wanted to add that in there because while it's not something we are commonly procuring so much nowadays, it is something that on the horizon I can see us doing once again. We're just through our third phase, I believe. So it wouldn't shock me in the slightest if we had a fourth phase that went out to a full-blown solicitation. And then something that I definitely wanted to touch on is the how to do work with us, how to find these opportunities. We have a couple different avenues. So we have Colorado VSS and BidNet. So those will all be linked in that how to do business page with us. Those will be the two areas where we post all of our solicitations, and they're all cross-posted. So you will not have to worry about signing up for both sites and worrying about missing a solicitation. Whatever is posted on VSS is also posted on BidNet. So if you sign up for one, you get all the offerings. And I think it's important to note as well that our code within those systems is EGBA. So anything with that coding is going to be OIT related. So if you see that code next to a solicitation opportunity, you know it's for OIT. And then there are some other opportunities on the events for suppliers page, such as the one that's upcoming here soon. We actually just got an email about it this morning. The Colorado Digital Summit is a big one that a lot of OIT folks go to. We also attend events such as the NASPO Exchange events, the SIPA user conferences. We are all over those. So, and suppliers are more than welcome to attend those as well. So something that, you should definitely want to put on your radar. And then something that I actually found when putting together this presentation was the OSC has a vendor notification email list. And so I would highly recommend folks, suppliers on this call to sign up for that just to be in the know. Like I said, that was new to me. And so I just wanted to put that on everyone's radar because I feel like that could also be a good resource. And we'll have some other resources kind of here near at the end of the presentation that we would love you guys to sign up for too. But I will toss it back to Kim for some procurement proposal tips.
Thank you, Brandon. So like Brandon had mentioned with competitive bids, and he mentioned where to find opportunities. Our team has been on some of these evaluation committees for like RFPs and so forth. And we've collected some tips that can help when submitting proposals. So I think these are good to mention, and they can help with your proposal, make it easy to read and understand. So if you do find yourself submitting a proposal to one of our solicitations, this can be of assistance. So these 3 things can really help with your submission. I know these solicitations, especially the IT ones, are pretty lengthy. So first, you want to make sure that you align with the proposal with OIT's goals that are listed in the solicitation. I've often seen like people just list features, but it's best to list those features, but explain why your solution removes bottlenecks or supports the solicitation objective. Your service is good, so highlight why it's great to help us with this project or work or whatever the case may be. And then nail the requirements. So oftentimes solicitations have standard requirements like accessibility, formal submission. So like the proposal has to be submitted through VSS or whatever the case may be, and not just emailed to the purchasing agent. Those requirements matter, and they are easy to hit and accept. So those are some things that you want to make sure that you have. And then other things like contract terms. These are required by statute, so it's hard to get around these contract terms. So agreeing to the sample contract, the one that's usually attached to the solicitation, helps the process run smooth. And then lastly, mirror the RFP structure. This one's super important, especially for evaluators. Use the exact sequence, numbering, titles of the solicitation, and align that with your proposal. It makes it easier for evaluators to find answers and award points instead of having to search through regardless, they're going to search through everything, but it just makes it easier. And I know these seem like common sense, but it's those little things that help you along the way. You want to ensure everything is getting addressed. You don't want any points missed or glazed over. You want to make sure that you're showing all the amazing capabilities your organization has to offer. So with that, I can pass it back to Brandon. He can cover the key contacts and resources, and then we should be wrapping it up here.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much, Kim. Yeah, so this is our last slide before we get to questions, but we had to do a shameless plug. So me and Kim both, as we mentioned at the beginning, sit on the vendor services team, and we just wanted to throw some of our contact information out there and let you guys know we're here as a resource. We're here to help you. We're here to answer questions. It can be kind of touchy when you're doing cold calls out to different agencies, and we can help kind of bridge that gap for you. So feel free to reach out to that VMO team email that is listed here. And thank you, Sarah, for dropping that in the chat. That is going to be our shared inbox. So Kim, myself, and our other counterpart, Dennis, all monitor this box and can try to, if we don't know the answer, we probably know someone who does. So if you have any questions that pop up in the meantime or down the road, feel free to reach out to us and we can try to guide you as best as possible. And then we have some other resources listed there. So our vendor team, we put together a monthly newsletter. It usually goes out about the first week of every month. And it has a bunch of great information. For example, one of the articles we have right now that's going out is around our proper billing practices, because it is year end. It's a big deal that we have our invoices billed correctly. It's all going through the right forums. And we also have another article in there about our core requests, so our Colorado open records. Those requests, if you are inquiring, the vendor management team, we also manage the core requests. So any open records questions you have, feel free to reach out to us there. And then we have the Engage with Us page. So this is kind of similar to the How to Do Business with Us. That's going to give you a direct view into how to do business. So it's going to touch on VSS, it's going to touch on BidNet. And I believe on the bottom of that page, our vendor information is also linked there. And then we also have our OIT standards, policies, and guides page. So if you have any questions while you're creating a bid response about, what do these folks want to see? What are some of their policies? As we have a lot of questions around our security requirements because we are in IT. All of that information will be listed on the policy page for you to review. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We work very tightly with our CISO office. And so we can either get you in contact with one of them or bounce the question off of them and get you a response back. And then that final link there is the direct link to how to do business with the state of Colorado. So this one is a little more broad. It's a little outside of OIT specifically. So if you are interested with doing business, say with the CDOT or with a Department of Corrections, this is going to kind of give you a window into how to do business with other agencies because some folks do use different platforms. So this will have all the links you need and provide you with all of that information if OIT maybe isn't your flavor. So yeah, please check that out if you get a chance. And I think with that, I think we're ready to field some questions if anyone has any.